You're listening to the Journey podcast. The Journey is a ministry of Southcrest Baptist Church for those in college or college-aged. We hope this podcast helps you find your greatest pleasure and purpose in Jesus. And here we go. Hey, we're live, okay? I'm excited. My name's Tyler. I'm the Journey pastor here, and today we are starting, not for the very first time, but pretty new, a Journey podcast.
Let's go.
And before we kind of dive into what this is going to look like, what we're doing here, why we're even doing this, we need to introduce this guy. This is everyone's favorite worship pastor, David Maddox.
Hey, hello. So
David,
glad to be here.
Really
David.
quick, favorite song.
Oh my gosh, favorite song. I mean, right now it's Jesus is My Healer. We did it last night, which was Tuesday night, depending on
Now
when.
you dated this podcast.
Oh no. I really do love that song. Gateway Worship. Jesus is My Healer. So good.
Okay.
Right now. It changes frequently, but right now.
You
song.
you went spiritual. Favorite non-Christian song? Lizzo?
Absolutely. Right now it's probably a song from Jacob Collier. I think it's called She's My Sunshine, maybe. I might be messing up.
She's my sunshine.
Something like that. Oh.
That, I've never heard it.
It's very good.
I sing a version of
No,
You Are
She
My
Put
Sunshine.
It's She Put Sunshine. It's very good. It's very good. It's fun. It's a fun song. Jacob Collier, check it out.
We'll put those in the show notes. Will we have show notes?
Will we have show notes? I don't know.
Who knows? We don't even know what we're doing right now.
Yeah. We have
Like that's not true. We know what we're doing. But hey, we are really pumped about doing this. So and you can kind of speak into this, but kind of the idea of what we're doing here is just really another format to equip, give our college students, that's kind of our main audience, like give our college students just some tools to use in their everyday life. I think I want to say, like, by no means are we like the ultimate authority on the topics that we're going to discuss. In fact, I would say, like, one of the things that I really like about us doing this together is you and I are probably going to maybe differ on some things. And so, like, we may not be friends after all is said and done with this podcast, which I'm okay with.
you know?
But I think just this is another way for us to equip our college students to go about their day. I hope it's beneficial. I hope it's fruitful for them. But I don't know anything with that.
I'm excited. Like, right, helping people find their greatest pleasure and purpose in Jesus. I think this is a fun way to do that. To outside of a stage, a platform on Tuesday nights or Sunday mornings, to just have conversations about real things and real life.
So real talk.
Yeah,
that's right. And so that's what this is going to be. It's going to be, just a conversation. And we're going to talk about things that may be difficult. We're going to bring some humor into this. We're just going to have fun with it. And so that's our hope, is that in the midst of the fun, in the midst of the jokes and all of that, there is things that there are things that are communicated that we can take from this and use, every single day. But with that said, we are in an undisclosed location. This is kind of like the bunker. This is like the Journey bunker, right?
it looks pretty good though, right?
It does look good. Yeah. Shout out to our comms team. Yeah. Yep. They helped put this together, and it's
pretty awesome.
It looks stinking awesome, man. It really does. I had some things I wanted to put in here, and they X'd it. They said what? No. I had a really cool like Texas Tech like wall thing, and I was like, hey, what if we put this in there? And like the immediate reaction was like, that's not what we're looking for.
Do they know who you are?
They know. They know. But so I mean, my feelings were hurt a little bit, but I moved on. But yeah, so this is gonna be fun. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I hope you're excited.
I am looking forward to it.
We're gonna bring on
Anytime.
guests every now and then.
Mhm.
It's gonna be, it's just gonna be fun talking about these things. And today we're gonna start off with dating.
Yeah.
Okay? And so I want to play a game. And I'm gonna let you start this. Okay.
Okay.
Here's kind of what we're gonna do. Pickup lines. Pickup lines are interesting to me because I don't know anyone that's ever used a pickup line.
Especially these.
Yeah. But pickup lines they're fun. They're cringy.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna share some pickup lines and give like our immediate reactions to these. Okay. So why don't you kick us off with like your opening pickup line?
Okay. All right. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. Yeah.
Are you ready to go down the rabbit hole? Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
He's been waiting to say that.
I've been wanting to say
He's
that.
been wanting to say that.
No. Okay. So here we go. Now I know why Solomon had 700 different wives, because he never met you.
I like that one because it brings in a flavor of polygamy.
Oh yeah, which is always great.
Which is all through the Bible. But then it specifies like, hey, of all my 700 wives, like you're my favorite.
Yeah,
which is good. You know, like if you ever find yourself in that position, you got to have a favorite.
for sure.
Yeah. All right, here we go. The word says, give drink to those who are thirsty and feed the hungry. How about dinner?
Oh yeah, that's good.
That would get you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes. That's my reaction. Yes.
All right, throw me another one.
Okay. This is a classic. You ready?
Yep.
Did it hurt when you fell from heaven?
That is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's just a good one to go to. It's pure.
Mm-hmm. Angelic, you could say.
Angelic, yes. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a lot of like, like you say what you mean. Like this person is, point. This person is from heaven. I love it. All right. So last night I was reading in the book of Numbers and I realized I don't have yours.
It's just overused. That's my reaction to that one.
Okay.
Too much.
More overused than the angel one?
Oh yeah. Come on. No. Oh my goodness.
I don't know about that.
Nobody's using Numbers these days. What's your Snapchat, man?
I'm confused now.
Yeah. I don't know. Wait, your number is in Snapchat, isn't it? I don't use Snapchat. I have no idea. I don't know, everybody does, but I don't. So
what is this Snapchat that you speak of?
Well, Snapchat to me was a unsavory app for sending things that you didn't want your parents to see when it first came out. So it is pretty odd to me that Snapchat is what everybody uses to communicate these days. But
well, back in my day, I did not have social media growing up, and so you had to do it the old school way and just sneak out of the house.
Yeah.
That was kind of it. That's probably not a great thing to say, but it is what it is, All right, let's do one more.
Yeah,
one
that's
more
all
piece.
I've got. So perfect.
Okay.
Okay. So I said that no one probably uses these or should, but I think I've actually heard people use this one before, which is the age old. I've been praying and God told me that we're supposed to go on a date. Not really a pickup line, but a bold statement nonetheless.
How are you supposed to respond to that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because if you say no, then you're kind of saying no to God.
Yeah.
And if you're saying yes, man, this person like is direct landline to God.
Yeah.
Like they are hearing from him very intimately. Yeah.
Don't do that. We're getting into the advice a little early, but just please don't. Of all the jokes, don't tell someone that God told you you're supposed to go on a date with them.
This one kind of is in the same vein. Okay. We talk a lot about being spirit led, right? Well, the Spirit led me straight to you.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's just like actually a smooth way to say the same thing.
Yeah. It feels better than saying. Does.
Still pretty creepy, but.
Yeah. Pickup lines though, man. Like, do you know, did you ever use a pickup line with Allie?
No, I mean, nothing like that, right?
Allie's his wife, by the way.
Yeah. I'm married.
In case anyone was wondering. Yeah. I probably did, but like just in a joking manner.
Yeah. Yeah. There wasn't like she would know that I was into her, and then I used, the Solomon 700 Wives line, and now she knows I'm into her. Probably use them in a joking way.
Yeah.
Like after we had already been on a date, though.
That one to me is the best one. The 700 Wives.
700 Wives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of implications.
Man, just think of the biblical conversations that lead right out of that.
Yeah.
You start directly talking about scripture.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know if that's like where you want to go immediately.
That's where you want to start.
But it does lead you straight into scripture. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we're talking about dating, right? And, you're married. How long have you been married?
6 years.
6 years. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll be 10 years in October. So between us, that's 10 plus 6.
16. Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's right. 16 years of marriage between us. And that means we've kind of been removed from the dating scene.
Yeah.
For a while. Do you remember what it was like to date?
Yeah. 6 years isn't that long. We still got something to say.
Yeah.
But it is definitely, it's hard to, I know, 6 years is a long time, but it is hard to imagine being in that again.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I think it can be enjoyable, but I don't look back to dating and think, oh, that would be fun to do again. It's an awkward process, right?
Yeah.
Like it can be fun, but it's a really awkward, uncomfortable process.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I think when I look at college students today, I think that's what I get really sympathetic about is like, and I wonder if there's any way to get around it, but like it is awkward.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's an important thing to like just acknowledge up front. Dating is awkward.
Yeah.
Or at least initially.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think initially it just like trying to figure out how to date is kind of weird.
Yeah.
And the hard part with it is like, if you're trying to figure it out and you're like, where can I go for advice, or like the scriptures don't speak a whole lot on dating, really any. Right. And so I think that's the hard part with dating is like, how are we supposed to approach it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that it's probably different, like any advice that we're going to provide, right, is probably not going to be, like one size fits all.
Yeah.
Every relationship is different. Every person is different. And so, I know neither of us like have some advice that we want to provide that we think is just going to be this perfect, like key to getting a date with any girl or guy.
Well, maybe not you.
Oh, you do.
I might.
Yeah. Well,
no,
you
I'm
did
not.
have some pretty smooth pickup lines. I think if we're just going to dive right into it, that this is something that I've been like talking a lot about over the past couple of days on this specific topic about like getting a date. I think that the main thing for me that I see as a problem right now is which I guess at its core is just a lack of confidence, right? Which is like what we already said is an understandable thing because this is awkward and weird and uncomfortable. But it is that there's a way too big of a hesitancy to be direct, and be honest about the way you feel, because I think if I could read into it, I think maybe it's just because we overthink things, and I know, and that's like think back to my dating years, I definitely overthought it a lot. And sometimes I did it the right way, sometimes I didn't. But I wish I could go back in all of those circumstances where I was interested in a girl, and just tell myself, hey, calm down, stop dreaming up, the way this could go, and just go and say, like, it doesn't have to be weird, just go and say, hey, gosh, it sure has been fun getting to know you, and I would like to get to know you more. You know what I mean? Or even maybe when the time is appropriate to just be honest about like, hey, I really like you and would like to explore a deeper relationship with you. And like I said, I'm giving examples of how to say that, but it's going to be different, right? Even those examples are probably not great examples, but you know what I mean? Just being direct and being honest.
Okay. You're talking about being direct. Let's role play a little bit.
All right.
Okay. You're David Maddox and I'm a girl walking down the street.
Right.
Okay. Actually, you know me. So, we've been friends. Hey, David. And you're like, all right, I got to be direct with this person. How would you approach that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess even when I was dating, like there probably is a text message that starts that conversation. Because you're right. Finding the right moment, like just like what is that moment? Like you're in the car with your friends or something? Like no, or walking down the street with friends? Probably not. I guess it would probably start with a text message. Yeah. That is a pretty clear approach to, do you want to go on a date?
So you feel like texting to initiate that is appropriate?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't have an issue with that. Yeah. I think that's how, especially like this generation, that's how they communicate, like if I'm going to like reach out to someone, I'm not calling them because the chances of them picking up the phone are pretty slim.
Yeah.
But if I text them, they'll respond. The part where it gets a little hairy is like, and we've talked about this, it's hard to it's hard to see like in that text, like excitement or like this person may not be digging the vibe that I'm throwing out right now. Like, and so like you have to be extremely like, just like on top of how you're communicating something if you're going to do it through text.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's, or I think it just goes back to all of these scenarios are going to be unique and different. It's not simple. It is not easy. And I definitely don't want to make it sound like I'm like, guys, it's easy. Just ask the girl out. Right. I get that it's hard and stressful.
Yeah, it is. And I think that's okay to acknowledge like, hey, this is hard. This is stressful. But I also think it's okay to sit there and go, a lot of that stress we do place on ourselves. And I think it's good to remember like dating is not as like it's not a status to dwell in.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And so like if it becomes this status that you're dwelling in and like you're dating for this status to say, hey, I'm dating, I think that's when a lot of pressure gets put on it. And rather instead it's more of a process to go through. And so I think that's important, is to remember like as you date, remembering that, hey, this is a process to like get you to somewhere.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Not just this status of I'm dating and dwelling in that status.
Yeah. So can dating be, just for fun?
Gosh.
Because I completely agree, right? That
Yeah.
it is for a purpose. It's moving somewhere. But like, say you're in, like a lot of probably the people that are going to listen to this in college, maybe going, yeah, I want to be married. I want to be in a relationship, but I'm looking at how many years I've got left for school, and it's probably just not wise for me to move down that path too quickly. And so right now, marriage is a long way off.
Yeah.
Which maybe like what you talked about on Tuesday night about marriage, right? Maybe you're surprised about how soon marriage like that conversation comes along.
Yeah.
But yeah, is it okay, for somebody to say, hey, I'm just in a fun stage right now. So yeah, I'll date, but marriage isn't a conversation right now.
Yeah. I'm hesitant to put a blanket statement on, I'm hesitant to say yes or no. I think this brings up a really good point. Like, if you are as clear as possible up front with someone, and you're like, hey, like, this is like, I'm not ready to be serious. Okay, like that's clarity there, and that gives that person like, okay, like neither am I, or this isn't someone that I want to like jump into this with because they're not ready to be serious. But I do think that there comes a point, especially in college, where like you do need to start getting serious.
Yeah.
And I think that just comes with like realizing, hey, it's time for me to be mature, I feel like I don't want this to come off as like dogging, right? But I do feel like the maturity levels are starting to delay a lot more with these generations that are coming up. And we could talk, probably we could do like a whole podcast on why that is, but I think some of the ramifications of that, like you see in dating, right? Let's talk specifically about guys. Like guys, they're not ready to commit. Yeah. Like they're not ready to like go, all in with someone. They're holding that person at an arm's length, right? And so a lot of that is a maturity level thing. And just the initiation of like dating. Again, specifically to guys, like I think that gets a little like weird because the confidence level is down, because I think the maturity level is down. And so I think learning to just like kind of grow up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to sound harsh.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just right. You're, am I like, tell me if I'm like processing what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Like that you would like to encourage college students college students in this ministry and, college students in general to be bold, right? And step into the future and step into responsibility, which doesn't necessarily mean setting a timeline that you're going to, regardless of your schooling and financial situation, I'm going to try to get married within a year. No, it's not that specific. It's just saying you're not going to be afraid of commitment. Afraid of being like, even kind of looping back to what we were saying before, like afraid of being direct and open about the way you feel about someone, and trying out a relationship where you're clear with like about your intentions.
Yeah, no. I think 100%, because I think what I see with like the guys that I talk with, if there's a girl that they like or interested in, right? And they're like, man, like I really like this girl. And I start to like ask questions. I'm like, okay, well, like, have you asked them out on a date? Or like, have you asked them like, hey, let's go grab coffee, or let's go to lunch? They're like, no, why? What are you talking about? And it kind of boggles my mind a little bit. And some of the responses I get is kind of like, well, I'm kind of playing the long game. And I'm like, well, you're going to play the long game until like you have no game, right? And so like until the game is completely gone. And so like there does come a point where you kind of have to just take a step of faith a little bit, and say, and you know what's I think scary about that, and I think this is kind of a full circle thing here. I think it comes down to just a fear of being rejected. Sure. Hey, I would rather just like have the allure of like, I like this person. They may not know it, but that's a safe place for me because I'm not being rejected yet.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like rejection is no one wants to be rejected. But like, I mean, some of the most beautiful things can happen if you just like step out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And you might. And I think that's, if you're clear from the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's why I'm putting so much emphasis on being direct and clear about your intentions.
Yeah.
Is if you're upfront about all of that, it doesn't have to be, right? Because we romanticize things. I know I did, right? Like I did in college, before Allie and I started dating. I would imagine out what this relationship with someone could look like and never actually talk to him, right? Yeah. And so then when I did work up the courage to talk to him, I was just like ready for failure, because I had this whole dream about how things should work, about how I was, about how I was gonna Risley bear him, I had to work it in. Right?
He's been waiting to work that in.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that one too. But yeah, right. But really, like about how I was going to craft this perfect pickup line. All right.
David's nickname in high school was the Rizzler.
Oh yeah.
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 Because
before
he had so much Riz.
Yeah, I was the Risley or the Rizzler before people were saying Riz.
Yeah. You were. In fact, I think you are where it came from.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It was born.
Okay, so we're talking about dating.
Yeah.
You're married 6 years. Tell me about, like that first date with Allie.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So, I enjoy the story. It's a fun story. So first thing, Allie's going to hate that I'm like bringing in this part of the story. Okay. But I think it's awesome. I'm really proud of it. Allie was actually a teacher at I went to South Plains for a little while, and Allie was a teacher.
What's their mascot?
I don't know. I know that they're right. Like it's the Westerners. That's what it is. The Westerners. Okay. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
So you were a big Westerner.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay. I went there to get my classes out of the way and move on. But it was a great school. Had a good time. But yeah, my last semester there, she was, working for the commercial music program and teaching private lessons. And so I had taken a private lesson with her my last semester. So she's a little bit older than me. She's my teacher. She did not like me at the time. Thought I was not a good student, and maybe I wasn't. But anyway, a couple of years later, we had some mutual friends that had been kind of trying to set us up, and I started to very much entertain the idea of making that happen, and so was doing a D-Now, like a youth worship event out of state, and needed a piano player and another vocalist. And so I reached out to her to play that event with me. And there was nothing super weird with that. But in the process of preparing for that event, I decided that I was going to ask her to hang out. Okay. And so when I asked her to hang out, I asked her to hang out with this mutual friend and some of my family. And the way she tells it, which I thought I was pretty clear and pretty direct, but maybe I wasn't. I was inviting her, to go with me to this hangout with the mutual friend and my family. And she definitely saw that, processed that as nothing resembling me showing interest in her at all, which is, it worked out. Okay. But anyway, she attended that. And at the end of that night, we had dinner and played some board games and stuff. And at the end of that night, I asked her if I could walk her to her car.
Dang.
And so that's kind of how things started. I was like, I got to make sure she knows this is something.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, can I walk you to your car? And it was kind of cold outside and I definitely didn't have a coat on. So it was like, yeah, I'm doing this for you.
So you remember the weather and
everything. I would never forget. Well, and one of the reasons that I could never forget is her response. Okay. So I walked her out to her car and I said, hey, thanks so much for hanging out. I've really enjoyed spending time with you tonight. Would you be open to, I love you. So I said, hey, would you be interested in going out to coffee or doing something like this again? And she said, it was like in real time. Okay. Real time, reenactment, like said, would you like to do something like this again? And she just like goes, okay. So yeah.
So she was excited.
She was so excited. It was not the most enthusiastic response, but she did hang out with me again, and we did continue to date. And like within a year from then, we got married.
And you have 2 kids.
And we have 2 kids.
Yeah,
so hey,
things have gone well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congrats to you guys. Yeah.
That was a long story. I'm sorry.
No,
but yeah, what's your story with Kylie?
Yeah. So Kylie and I, we met in college, Guns Up, Texas Tech. She was in nursing school. I was just enjoying school, and unintentional rhyme there. Yeah, we had mutual friends, but we didn't really like know each other. What's like interesting is like, we can look back on pictures. This is for like all our TTU students, at like Bucks Rave or Barn Dance, and there's pictures of us, not with each other, but like our backs are like against each other, and she's with her boyfriend, and I'm with like her roommates, and so it was just really funny. And her boyfriend at the time was named Tyler. I know, scandal. But they broke up, and we had some friends that were like, hey, we think that y'all should get together, like go on a date. And we talked, and like Kylie she's a really cool girl. I noticed like, man, she like is deep into her studies. And that just wasn't me. I wasn't the best student, but that's neither here nor there. So I asked her, I was like, hey, would you like our first, I guess, date would be, we went to Gatsby's. Do you remember Gatsby's?
Yes, yeah.
So Gatsby's was a coffee house here in Lubbock. It was really cool.
Yeah, in Cactus Alley.
And we went there to listen to Kelsey Watts.
Oh, awesome.
And so, but we thought like, hey, this will be a fun time. It'll be like intimate setting. Like we can just kind of get to know each other. We go there and there's no place to sit. And it is so loud. And so we just stood the whole time with our lattes. And we didn't get to talk at all. So we decided, all right, let's give this another try. And we went to Stella's. And this was when Stella's was on 50th Street. So we went to Stella's, and the night was going great. And we were, just like enjoying the company, enjoying the time with each other. They brought our food, and as soon as they brought our food, I don't know why I did this, but like immediately they just laid our food on the table, and I decided I'm going to reach for the dessert menu so I know what I want after I eat. And so I like went for the dessert menu and hit her water cup straight into her food. And so it just
Riz,
like,
right there, Riz.
It is. It immediately just like her pasta was just like drowned in water. And so they came back and they made her a new one. But it wasn't like the greatest start. But here's what like I want to point out. Look at the people that like you're already doing life with, right? Because that's kind of what, and I'm not going to say like that's the, the solution for everything, but like the people that you're surrounded by, like ask them like, hey, is there anyone that you think I would be, good with? Is there anyone that you think I could like be compatible with? And like be okay with people setting you up on a date.
Yeah.
Like our friends did that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's been a bed of roses ever since.
Oh, yeah.
3 kids later, and we're going strong.
Yeah.
I think, man, community, like dating and community. In fact, I was thinking of like some principles as we kind of, I don't know where we're at, like with time right now, but maybe we can kind of like wind down with this.
Yeah.
Okay. So some principles that I was thinking of, and I'm going to pull this up on my phone because I kind of forgot what exactly I had written down. So some principles like to consider if you want to date. Okay. The first thing that I would say is begin with prayer, right? Like, I think that's such an overlooked part of this process. Like, just start with prayer. Like, if you have the desire to date, start with prayer. And I think like, just take that to the Lord and see what he does with it, right? Like, see what he does with that desire, because that desire is not bad. Like, that's not a bad desire. So it's not like you're taking something to him that is sinful, right? Yeah. Like, you have a desire to date someone. And you may not even know who it is. Like, you just may have that desire, right? Start with prayer. Agree? Disagree?
I absolutely agree.
Yeah. Like, you can't go wrong with prayer.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that you're saying like that desire is good. And because could not agree more. Like, your desire to be with someone, in a relationship, intimately, all of that, like, that's from God. So he knows. he put that desire there. Yeah. Take it to him.
The next thing I would say is clarity, right? Like, bring as much clarity as possible into that relationship to begin with. So up front, like be as clear as possible with that person.
Yeah. DTR, right? Do people still say DTR? I
do.
Define the relationship.
Yeah.
Right?
And Kylie usually wants to define the relationship at about 9 p.m. at night when I'm trying to fall asleep. Bring as much clarity as you can. Okay. The more clarity, the better. Like, you can't go wrong with it. And then the next thing I would say is this: do everything in purity. Pursue purity as much as possible in that relationship. Like, don't ask like, where's the line, but like that. If you're asking where's the line, you're probably already too close to it. And so in every area of that relationship, as you're praying about it, as you're seeking clarity, and you enter into it, like, do it with purity. And then the last thing that I would say with that is do it in community.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying that you have to go on like double dates or triple dates anytime you go on a date, but like, have people in your life that can tell you, hey, this person has kind of a yellow flag that you need to think about, or a red flag.
Yeah, they keep you like thinking straight. Because when you like somebody, attracted to somebody, you kind of get love dumb, right? Like, that can happen really easily.
Love dumb. I like it.
Yeah. But so I completely agree with that. Community. Well, and also community helps you with the previous point about purity, pursuing purity.
Yeah.
It's same thing, right? It's like, if you both like each other, come on. Like, you're both attracted to each other. So there's a natural progression there. And so if you're in community, that means you have people around you helping you stay accountable, and you're not putting yourself in a position where not pursuing the level of purity that you desire is easy, right?
Yeah.
You want to make that hard.
Yeah. No, for sure. And those aren't like, those aren't principles that like Tyler just kind of came up with, but I think those are just guiding lights as you go down, the rabbit hole.
Ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But hey, so I think our time is kind of winding down. Each podcast is not going to be this long, but today, like, man, we just wanted to like, this has been fun.
Yeah, it has.
I think it's been informative. I've enjoyed talking and just kind of hearing.
Are we still friends?
We're still friends.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Episode 1.
Episode 1. We're still friends. But this has been good.
Good time.
Until next time.